Indiana Jones. It's a podcast about Indiana Jones. Every movie, 1 minute at a time. Indiana Jones. Minute.
Welcome back to the Indiana Jones Minute. This is the podcast where we try to imagine what the film Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is trying to tell us, 1 minute at a time. I'm Tom Taylor.
Joestet. That's Hungarian for good evening, and saying that makes just as much sense as Oxley speaking Mayan to an alien. I'm Pete Mummert.
I had a feeling you were going to have something to say about that.
I'm Gerald Christopher, my sympathies Porter.
And I am Natalie Polakowski, fellow fracas seeker and obtainer of rare antiquities.
Hey!
You're the one! Welcome!
Awesome.
Thank
Natalie,
you so much for having me.
Of
Oh,
course!
thanks for being here. Yeah.
You are the next in our line of visiting patrons from our Indiana Jones Minute Patreon group over at patreon.com/Indiana Jones Minute. And you've been with us for a long time. You were even one of our postcard people for a while. You were getting postcards from us every month.
Yes, definitely. That was very exciting to receive mail from you guys. And there was no telling what I would be receiving, whether it was a modified Gone with the Wind postcard that was turned to Empire Strikes Back or some type of destination card from Jerry. So it was very, very entertaining.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Or what you will be receiving from those of us who are over 3 years behind in our postcard sending.
Yeah, Pete would just send like a big sheet of paper with a postcard-shaped square cut out with like nothing in it. Yeah.
No, I always
Weird.
sent mine and I signed them Tom and Jerry. So,
Oh,
yeah.
yours are the good ones.
That's good.
Perfect. Well, thank you for joining us, Natalie. We are going to need your help discussing minute 106 of Crystal Skull, which begins with Spalko commanding everyone to imagine what the aliens could tell us, and it ends with Indy translating Oxley's Mayan translation of what the skull is saying.
Oh, I didn't understand. Okay, that explains. I didn't realize that I couldn't tell if he was translating what the skull is saying or if he was saying his own thoughts, but we'll get there. But
Oh, well, I jumped
I think
ahead.
we're
I think it's
still-
actually next minute.
Oh, okay. Well, Spalko's the only person in this room having an actual human response, like a human
Yet again.
emotional. Yeah.
Well, I don't.
She's there. Another person is too, because Marion is getting very handsy with Oxley in the background.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So first of all, this is where Indy always gets the penitent man kneels before God, and the Marion don't look at it. Right.
Yeah.
This is that moment just cemented in, like they just shoehorn it in, and I
Yeah.
understand why that's part of his character and the whole thing, but I don't like what is driving that, because I can't, none of this makes sense. Like in Raiders of the Lost Ark, he's tied up and he kind of comes to this realization, right, that it's like, oh, wait a minute, this is something that's very powerful. He heeds Salah's words.
Mhm.
Like, remember, Salah gives him that speech, like, Indy, what if the Ark was not meant to be disturbed?
Yeah.
There's one of those things, and they're putting that in here, but I don't know what happened between the moment he crossed the threshold with the skull himself,
Yeah.
or with Oxley, and then right now with Spalko putting it up on the alien's head.
It's
Like,
weird because
what's the what is the turnaround for him?
I don't know if there is one. I think it's mostly just like originally watching this minute, I was like, I was furious that after all this time, and I mean like 2 hours of movie and like 3 years of us doing this movie, after all this time, Oxley is not the one to return the skull. Like that made me furious. But then I'm like, oh wait, it's the bad guy returning the skull, and that's kind of the Indiana Jones way, isn't it? Because like you're saying,
That's
Jerry,
true.
Like Belloc opens the Ark. He like Indy sort of he's tied up, but he stands aside and lets Belloc open the Ark, and Belloc pays for it. Donovan, Indy stands in the background, and Donovan tries his hand at drinking from a grail, and he gets killed. So it's like there's sort of like that, I don't know, motif there of Indiana Jones like watching the bad guy fail or something first. But at the same time, that doesn't make a ton of sense because why? Like if Oxy returned the skull, that's not a bad thing to do. Like Spalko isn't doing a bad thing here by returning the skull.
Well, and Indy has again the penitent man kneels before God. Like there's always this place where Indy has a turnaround and he really becomes humble or expresses humility.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to tell you what Natalie's opinion is about this.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. This is Indy. That's what Indy does. He tells you what Spalko is thinking. He tells you what Spalko is capable of thinking. Like this is severe Indy-splaining, mansplaining. This makes me very uncomfortable. Like she says, I imagine what they could tell us, and he says, I can't imagine, neither can you. It's like, that just seems mean-spirited.
Although, again, and Natalie, I promise we're going to let you speak. But
okay, I'm enjoying this.
Okay. I had no idea I had this much to say about this minute. But damn it, what did you just say? He says that... Oh no, he's to be fair to Indy and to us, the audience, she's been making up stuff this entire movie. And so for him him saying to her, you don't know what's going to happen either. You don't know anything. You're making all this stuff up. You have no idea what's about to happen. You can say all you want about
but
what
you can't imagine it. Like imagine means to make up something in your head.
I suppose
so okay, Natalie, I have a question for you, and it's a big one. It's a big one.
Why was this movie made?
Yeah, if you could please, just in 20 words or less, please explain that. Thank you.
What did you have for breakfast? No, is there's so much emphasis placed on returno, right? Okay, whether it's Ox or Indy, the whole thing is about returno, right? So how is he supposed to return the skull and simultaneously be afraid? What is he supposed to do here? Like, is he supposed to place the skull in the middle of the room and run out?
Wait, why does he have to be afraid? I don't get it.
No,
why are you making Natalie answer the really hard questions that nobody else can answer?
You're such a Spalko, Jerry. You're just making up little elements of your question.
No, he's the one saying, like, don't approach it, don't do it. We should get out of here.
Oh.
Yeah, Indy is.
Oh yeah.
He's the harbinger of doom. Which this is his shut your eyes, Marion, don't look at it. He's literally doing the same thing, and yet he's supposed to returno.
That's, I'm not sure what the question is.
No,
again, welcome back.
You're one of 4 people in this room that
I'm
doesn't
saying
know.
that what
should happen here?
What should happen? Say there's no Spalko, and Indy is he's going to return the skull as a bunch of good guys. The skull talked to him. It's returno all over the prison cell, sanitarium. They are supposed to return the skull to its rightful owner. So he does. They traipse all across, through the rainforest and all these. They finally get in there. And Indy's like, I'm not supposed to be here. What are you doing? When they go to put the skull on the head.
Right.
I think just after so many experiences of him not knowing what's going to happen when the ark opens or, when they find the right grail, like, I think maybe it's just finally his wisdom is catching up to him, or we're seeing it. Not that he hasn't been wise throughout other movies, but I think now he's kind of had that, like, oh crap moment, like what is going to happen?
Okay.
Like, obviously there's that missing puzzle, like quite literally, like there's a spine there that his head needs to go on, but like not knowing at all what's going to happen afterwards is, I think, actually scaring him.
I love that.
That's funny.
Because I think you're absolutely right. And I love that because this is the first movie he gets credit for that.
Right.
Or this is the first movie that he does that, but it's the first movie that someone says that he doesn't get credit for that.
Right.
Spalko immediately says, "Belief is a gift you've yet to receive."
That's funny, and the fact that she says that, and we sort of like, Indy, she's, yeah, you don't believe and I, pity you or whatever she says. And he's like, no, I do believe. That's why I'm down here. So it's funny that like we've been shaking him for like 4 movies. Like, why don't you believe? You saw the Ark kill all these guys. You saw the Sankara stones, all this stuff. Why don't you believe it? And now he does believe, and it's made
Yeah.
him a big fat coward. He like doesn't want to do anything. He doesn't,
And he doesn't
wanna,
get credit for
see
believing.
the thing to the end. Yeah.
Well, I guess so. If maybe I'll ask it another way. So what would happen if everyone here heeded Indy's little speech?
Mm.
What does that life look like? They all go home?
Wait, what do you mean?
Oh, so she goes to put the skull on, and he's like, you don't know what you're doing, and the thing, and we know that.
But I don't feel like he's telling her not to do it.
I think what's weird is I think he is, but I don't
Yeah.
know
Is he?
why.
That's
Oh, okay.
why. For the love of
it does
God, you
seem
guys
like
are
it, yeah.
making me seem nuts.
No. The movie, you are nuts, but the movie's making you nuts. It's not your fault, Jerry. It's okay.
Thank
I'm
you.
not 100% sure I agree with that. Like I mean, I think you are nuts too, but I'm trying to say that you're nuts because I don't feel like I think we need a ruling here, Natalie.
Okay.
Is Indy telling her not to put the skull on the skeleton?
I don't think that he is. I think that he's more or less just like being cautious. And I guess I don't know what the other side of this would look like. Like Jerry's asking, like what would
Mhm.
happen? Do they just set it down and leave? Like they've traveled all this way. Like they have to
Yeah.
do something. But maybe we've all been staring too long into the crystal and we're losing some brain cells.
Some of us more than others. Well, okay, let me ask you this then. Okay, Natalie, if Oxley was rightfully the one to put the skull back on, would Indy's reaction be the same? Would he be like, no, Ox, like easy, like, or would he just be like, here you go, my buddy Ox, this is what you've been trying to do.
So
this is the right thing to
that's
do.
what I'm asking. Essentially, what is it if Spalko comes in and she's like, tell me everything you know, and you're like, what is going wrong here according to Indiana Jones?
Or according to the movie.
Or according to the movie, what is the problem with what is happening?
I feel like in addition to his Indy mansplaining, he's also every movie he gets to have it both ways. He gets to close his eyes.
Yes.
And he gets to say, "Oh no, sister, I don't think you should do this." He gets to do that, but he still gets the benefit of seeing what happened when everybody else is dead. Like he gets the credit for not looking, but then he gets to look anyway.
Well, and the fact that she's the villain in this case, and he's still like saying, like, be careful. Let's see what like be careful about what you're doing. Versus like if it were Ox, I mean, I think he would still say like heed my warning type thing, but at the same time, Ox is kind of off his rocker. Like maybe he is the right one too.
Yeah.
Is it because Indy trusts Ox's intentions? And what freaks him out about Spalko doing it is that he knows that she's there for some Looney Tunes reasons and expecting something, I don't know, something Marxist to happen or something. And he's just, and because it's her and because he doesn't know what she's up to or feels like he knows what she's up to.
Oh my God. You just said something brilliant, Tom.
Oh yeah?
That's so
How'd that
weird.
happen?
That's weird. I just realized in every movie, every item that they go after is purely about your intention, whether it works or not.
Oh, wow.
Like the Ark of the Covenant, if you're bad, it's going to kill you. If you're good, well, we're not sure what happens if you're good, but probably
just
good
leave it
things.
alone and you're fine, yeah.
Same with the Sankara stones, same with the Holy Grail. Now the same with this. Like if you're good, it knows you're good-hearted, you'll be fine. Like all these objects are like the like you're having your heart weighed in ancient Egypt. Like against a feather.
Well, each of the villains is like they've got the hubris gland going crazy, and either that or they're getting too big for their britches. They think they're more important than whatever they're looking for, or
so it's like these
the
objects are hubris sniffers.
yeah, and really the movies are just about Indiana Jones helping some deity trap a bad guy into making an ass out of himself and getting killed.
I agree with all that, except we have a quantifiable wrong choice in Last Crusade. He literally takes the wrong chalice. Now, if
because he did it because of his attitude and his mindset that it's got to be the most gleaming, beautiful golden crusted
Like,
thing.
so would he have always chosen that one? Or what would happen if Donovan chose the chalice of a carpenter? What would have happened to him?
He probably would have been fine. Would have had to live in that cave, live
See, but-
forever.
He would
Yeah.
become the new knight.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, okay, so in Raiders, you can't look at it, and you're a good person because you never disturb it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't even although Indy, if you have a heart of gold, you can't open the ark because that you all of a sudden would have a heart of lousy tin. It would be garbage.
Yeah,
You'd have
to
a heart
try
of
to
garbage.
open it
Yes.
means you don't understand what it is and respect it enough. And
Right.
yeah.
In
But
the
this
song,
means that Indy should be walking around with a shovel trying to bury more things. Like, because everything he goes after is something you shouldn't touch.
You can disturb the ark, just don't open it and just don't touch it. And
the Sankara
Yeah.
stones, I never understood because he says to him something like, "No, you betrayed Shiva." Doesn't he say something like that?
Yeah.
On
Yeah.
the bridge.
Yeah. And
because Molaram, doesn't he say something like in that moment, like, no, they're mine, I own them or something. Like he makes some statement about how he's the powerful one and the stones are part of his power or something. It's not like that. He's not respecting the holiness behind them or anything.
Kali or whatever. Okay, in Last Crusade, that is there's a right and a wrong choice. I don't know if you need to look into your heart or if the knight or the Lord looks into your heart in that one. There is a right and a wrong choice.
Yeah, if Donovan had taken
Yes.
a line of soldiers and had them each try one until one of them didn't die horribly, then he could have just taken the right one. And been all
Yes.
good.
Wait, but Spalko's making the right choice.
She is. That's what bugs me. She
Yes.
does.
She
her,
makes the right choice.
Her bad guy move doesn't come until the next minute. Like here,
If it's a bad
she's
guy
not doing
move,
anything
I'm still
wrong.
not even convinced that that's a bad guy move. But let's grant you that it's a bad guy move.
Yeah.
Here she's doing the right thing.
But I'm wondering if this is one of those moments where it's like she's speaking English to the alien, and he's like, "Oh, your heart is filled with garbage."
Yeah, you're not speaking ancient Mayan.
You're not speaking because
Yeah.
that's the only difference I can come up with. Yes, her intentions, and she's very demanding and imperious about it. Tell me everything. You're just like, dude, where.
So if she'd said please, things would have been fine.
Yeah, is
Yeah.
it just her is it just her impropriety?
Point of order. That's the next minute. We should.
Okay.
We should stay off that.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get
Okay.
We're skipping over something huge here, though.
Mm.
I had a huge question last few minutes, and it turns out the humans built this temple.
Yes.
Oh, that's right.
So what do we take away from that? What is that?
And I like, does this mean that aliens were already lifeless and inert when they built it around them?
Oh,
And where does their spaceship come from at the end of the movie?
Natalie, what did you have for breakfast? I would love to not talk about this.
What was
I
it?
had my Wheaties. Just kidding.
Beautiful. Okay, great.
So, if this was built by humans, though, didn't you guys talk a couple minutes ago even too just about the alien's head almost serving as like a key fob into that room?
Right. Yeah.
How does that work? How did the humans work that
Oh.
out?
Well, how about this? He says, like, I don't understand it, you don't understand it, and neither do the humans that built this temple. And so I'm thinking, okay, so those are the Uga, right?
Mm-hmm.
So are they cursed?
No, I think
maybe
what
he's
it-
speaking metaphically. Maybe he's saying
Like,
this
or-
temple of the body.
Well,
sorry,
is
that
there
was dumb.
something is there something wrong with the Uga?
No, I think Indy's just saying that they, like a lot of people who build temples to things, they don't. Part of building the temple is because you don't fully understand it, or you've got the humility to know that you don't understand fully the thing, that you can't fully comprehend it or something. I'm making this up. This might not hold up at all.
But I feel like that's great if, like, I could have the humility to say I don't understand something, but I think it's no longer humility if I say that you don't have the ability to understand something.
Yeah.
That's just being a jerk.
Well, so did the aliens just come down here and sit in a circle, and then the Ooga, because they have hearts of gold,
Build
my
a
gosh.
temple around
build a temple around
Yeah.
them as a sign of humility and respect?
And as they were building the temple, they realized their door hinged on having a alien skull, so they had to chop off one of
It's
the
like,
aliens'
yeah,
heads.
so like, yeah, and Ooga
take that
Steve
with 'em.
Jobs developed facial recognition.
Right. And they had to hang that skull outside the door on a key fob, and that's when the conquistadors.
Well, what
came
about
along
so
and
when
just took
then
it.
Oriana came, he sort of breached the temple, thus defying it, having a heart of garbage.
How did he get in the door?
Oh.
Because the skull was still on the guy.
Did you put almond milk on the Wheaties, or was it like 2%? Or I mean, they slice a banana on it.
And why did
There's some blueberries in.
How come?
Oh, beautiful! That sounds
did
great.
Oriana didn't die like an awful, painful death, like his face twisted up, like the guy in Raiders, or melted off, or as he got torn
Yeah.
apart by crocodiles.
Well, he didn't ask for anything, and the
He
skull,
took the dude's head.
I know, but the aliens didn't. They didn't have any power because they were missing a head.
But
Like that
why
head-
don't they do something nice for the Ooga instead of saying I'll do something nice for someone who brought my head back? Why not do something nice for all these people that built you a lovely? It's not a. I mean, it's lovely on the outside temple, and took care of your earthly body for hundreds and hundreds of years.
What sucks is we're like minutes away from like the actual climax of this movie, and it's not going to get any clearer. It's just going to be more and more questions as we go. But we're having fun. Okay, I have a brilliant question. It's actually this is blowing my mind, and it has been for a little while. I knew this moment was coming. What in the world is Spalko walking up to get to that skull, to get to that skeleton with the skull? There are no stairs where she is walking.
I think a magic carpet unfolded and
Yes.
Wait, really?
Or maybe it's like a bunch of Russian soldiers like kneeling down in front of her as she walks.
steps on their backs.
Like, yeah, like each of those things has like, they have sideways sort of steppy, like all those blocks,
yeah.
you know? Like they're kind of sideways, but there's nothing going straight up to one of those.
Oh,
guys.
I know
That's
what
exactly
she's doing.
what she's doing.
I know what she's doing.
What?
It's when there's like an island in a kitchen or a couch, and you go behind the couch and you pretend like you're walking downstairs. She's doing the opposite. She's pretending
Wow.
like she's walking up the stairs.
So she's actually like
started
12
really
feet
low.
tall?
Yeah, she's like starts kneeling down, and yeah.
Maybe it's one of those things. It's like if you, it's kind of like if you believe, kind of like at the end of Last Crusade, she puts her foot out, and then the
Oh.
staircase appears.
And she was
Yeah.
uplifted in all things. Yeah.
Put one foot in front of the other.
You guys, I think I know what it is. I think it's
Oh.
the monkeys that followed Mutt from the jungle, and she's now stepping on them. They're
Wow.
lifting her up.
I
Yeah.
knew they had to
That's
play a
good.
larger role in this thing. Thank
Yep.
you.
You're welcome.
I like that because she's the one doing the right thing, and they're like they're being nice too.
Right.
Yeah. Everybody comes together at the end. This is really nice. It takes a village to return a skull.
We have a massive reveal in this minute. He says, Indy says, you don't believe, you know what it is, Pete?
Oh, God.
Yes.
I was wondering if you were going to say
What
this.
is it, Pete? What is it?
Indy just revealed that Spalko is his sister.
Yes. Thank you. So
Now, wait, is her sister also that nun
Yeah, that-
in
Yes.
fake Mexico?
It's
Okay.
like it's a big family thing. He has two siblings at least in South America.
Wow.
I think
I
it's
think-
George Lucas just has to put a sister in movies. Like he was so excited about Return of the Jedi. He's like, I just got to keep
Yeah.
doing that. That
It works
works.
so well.
Yeah.
Or Henry Jones Sr. got around. We don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe,
Ooh,
yeah.
I
Yeah.
like that.
I want to. Could somebody do a quick search? I think the word "sister" is used twice in the entire Indiana Jones series, and both of them are in this movie. They just kind of went all faders in on sisters.
I
Well,
think-
Natalie, has anybody who's not your sibling ever call you sister?
Maybe once in my life, but it was like with that level of sass that I just don't imagine Indiana Jones saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so
Now, if he had called her doll, would you think that she was like from his toy bin or something as a kid?
Yeah, you see.
Yeah. Hey,
It's like Woody.
yeah, you see.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
He holds up her foot. It says Indy on the bottom, painted in crayon.
Oh my god.
Uh,
I love Spalko's afraid acting. I think it's great.
She
Wait.
does look great in these
Yeah,
moments.
she looks
Yeah.
great.
Looking up
She
at
gets
the skull.
afraid.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
question for you, Natalie: is the skeleton singing?
Whoa.
are you talking about when she puts the skull actually on it and there's like that kind of strange?
Yeah, it's like
Oing,
sounds
oing,
like
oing,
somebody's
oing.
singing.
Yeah,
Someone goes like, "Whoa."
potentially. Maybe it was Spalko because she finally, come to Jesus moment, come to alien moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely had that kind of eerie sound, almost like when you saw the Ark, like when it was in
Yeah.
the box and
Yeah.
you know, burning through.
When you first turn on your hybrid, like you back up.
Yeah. Sings your little song. Yeah.
But we were wondering if the Ark was making those noises. So I guess now maybe we know.
Well, the
Yeah.
the Ark does that like I don't know. It's almost like a furnace or something. It goes, and then it does the real low pitched hum. Remember?
Yeah.
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 So, but didn't it like every time aliens move, did they make that like coin jingling sound?
It almost sounded like too
Hmm.
if you would like put marbles together, like rub them together
Oh,
or
yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just that clinging. But yeah,
Actually,
I
though,
think
that's an accurate sound of my knees. So maybe.
Oh God. Yeah, mine too.
Gross.
Sorry,
We're all
I didn't mean to
turning
interrupt
into
you,
aliens.
Natalie.
oh no, that's okay. But yeah, I think every time they're moving, it's almost like it's rubbing together and creating that sound.
It would be
So-
more fun if they were all like full on, just like pirate skeletons, and they're all like clickety clackety and missing teeth and stuff, and
But-
that might be fun.
Like we're gonna learn that they're gonna get some bodies, like some flesh is gonna grow on their bones.
Mhm.
So is this abnormal? Like, is this a magical experience for them? Is this the first time they've ever had skeleton aliens
Oh.
come back to life?
Mm.
Like, are they like, oh, we came to this magical world where we can come back to life? Or is this just something they do?
It's just something they do when they're having fun. I don't know. On happy hour.
Yeah.
Let's take our skin off. And
Yeah, it's cut loose a little bit, and then it got a little too rowdy, like 500 years ago, and
Somebody
piece
lost
of
their
dough made
head.
off with a skull. Yeah.
It's a nice tie-in with the flapestries too.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I don't. You know what was your favorite part of this movie, Natalie?
of this whole movie,
The
or
whole movie.
oh goodness.
I mean, or did you have one?
I could probably pick out a couple parts that I really enjoyed. Like one of them was in the cemetery when they're at the Nazca lines, and I think someone jumps down or up. I don't recall. Like one of the kind of creepy Nazca Indians
Mhm.
jumps up or down. I think it's down, and he's screaming, and it sounds exactly like R2D2. I don't know if you guys
Oh wow!
have caught
Oh,
that, but it
no.
really sounded like it to me. It was such a high pitch, like wow. Like,
Oh, that's all. I gotta go
Um,
back and hear that.
and
Yeah.
then hearing like the arc music, like that brought like chills to me, which was cool. And
Uh-huh.
also even just the Henry Jones Jr. like that. My
Yeah.
uncle and I repeat that to each other all the time. But
Nice.
honestly, that's
That's cool.
that's kind of it. I feel like there's a lot more things that stick out to me that were bad, like the triple crossing of Mac, the triple
Mhm.
waterfall plunge.
Mhm.
You know, again, Shia LaBeouf swinging from the trees with monkeys. Stuff you guys have all touched on, but yeah, I guess just those really kind of small, true indie moments
Yeah.
that stood out
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does have some of those.
I
Which is
I
nice.
was watching this minute, and Harrison Ford is just such a fantastic actor.
Mhm.
I mean, it just and watching, I had those moments too, where it's like his countenance or the way he says something, or the way he looks, or how he looks kind of like fearful, and yeah, you know what I mean, or at least he has a trepidation to him, and he kind of leans back a little bit, and I'm just like, God, it is so fun to watch him be Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Do you, Natalie? How do you feel about? What are your thoughts for Indy 5? Are you excited for it? Do you think has Crystal Skull set you up for? I don't know, for something better is going to come, or they can't do it anymore, or what are your
Well,
thoughts?
I'm trying to stay hopeful, but I have to tell you, I was not excited really about the fourth one coming out because I just knew that they couldn't live up to the trilogy. I still call it a trilogy. I feel like I can't recognize this fourth one, but I am going to see it. I jokingly say that I will not see it, but I have to. I feel like it's a moral obligation.
Right, right.
But I'm worried that they're going to overdo it, or I don't want them to pass the torch. Like I think I would prefer that he died in the end. I just that would be a much better way to end it than continue on and just suck the life out of this character and story.
I think I agree.
Like, but does he need to die? Could there be a sunset? Like, remember he rode off into the sunset and last.
Well, they did that already.
They did already in Last Crusade.
He wouldn't stay dead.
He wouldn't.
They all died in the sunset. Oh man.
I think that's what he deserves. Like, not in a horrific death like Han Solo, but I don't know. I don't know what could happen, but that's my hope for it at least.
What if he actually died by getting run over by a giant boulder? Would that be kind of funny?
It would bring things full circle, yes.
Right. I wonder if that could at all ever be satisfying for like the general audience. They could be like, "Oh, that felt right. That's how we should have gone out. I feel good about this."
They have like the boulder and then some spikes close it. Like they should have everything. Like,
yeah, it's covered in snakes.
Yeah. Drown with rats all around him.
He's going to just revisit the temple and see Satipo's dead bones and dead body and fall into the pit.
What if this is like occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge and right at the end, he jerks back and you see that he's on the same spikes that Satipo is.
Oh my gosh. And Satipo walks adios, Dr. Jones.
What if it ends?
I just got chills.
What if it ends with somebody coming back and they see a skewered Indy and they say, Jones, a friend of yours, a competitor.
Wow.
And that's the new spin-off Forrestal series.
That's the new spin-off Forrestal series.
Disney Plus.
Son of Forrestal.
Well, Natalie, what do you think about? I know we're kind of like steeped in them right now in these minutes, but how did you feel about Indiana Jones versus the Spacemen? Did you feel like that was a worthy goal of Indiana Jones and foe and MacGuffin, or was it too sci-fi? What did you think?
I think that the idea was good. I think if they might have kept it a little bit more like 50s sci-fi, like with the time period, but I think it was just a little bit of a stretch. But I do kind of go back and forth in my mind because so is the black magic of Kali and magic rocks and the Holy Grail. So I struggle with that but those are like the classic. They were done right, but I feel like this was a good concept but not done right.
Yeah, I think I feel the same way.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, speaking of not done right.
No, wait a
minute. Something's coming in over the wire.
Hey.
Let's see here. This just in from Professor Christy Porter. Did Indiana Jones ever go to McDonald's?
He had the chance, didn't he? At least by this movie, like didn't they?
When did they
started in the 50s?
Yeah, I think.
But they were only in LA, right? It was only.
Oh.
It's one of those things. I think it may have started in
Marshall, but he left Marshall, so he's not in California anymore.
Founded in 1940 as a restaurant operated. It was by Richard and Maurice McDonald in San Bernardino.
What would he have ordered?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The Big Mac.
For Mac. Yes.
Yeah. Back then it was just Mac.
Do they still make those apple pie pockets?
They do.
800 degree hot. Yeah.
Oh, do they really? Wow. I think.
I assume so.
Yeah. Wow.
I haven't gotten one in a long time, but those are good. The cherry ones too. Yeah. Speaking of things that are somewhat enjoyable but not really good for you and not ultimately very satisfying and are probably slowly killing you. Natalie, thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, thank you. This was fun.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been great.
Excellent. I hope we let you talk enough. I feel like we we got excited about the meaning of Indiana Jones not doing anything in the climax of his own movie.
It was still very interesting. I feel like there was a couple times I had to remind myself that I was actually in the conversation, not just listening.
All right.
Not because of you guys, but just the nature of me normally listening to it versus
Yeah.
talking. So
Say,
it's
you
cool.
know what? Say hello to yourself.
Oh, hello.
Yeah. Any shout outs you want to give? Anybody you want to say hi to? Anybody? Anything you want to plug? Any? You appearing anywhere? Got a postcard live readings or anything? Or
Yes, I'll do a couple shout outs if you don't mind. I'd like
Sure.
to do a shout out to my Uncle Jack. He's kind of a big brother to me, and he's introduced me
Nice.
to Indiana Jones many years ago.
That's
Oh,
And
Nice.
then also my stepdaughter Fiona. She was so excited for me to be able to be on this, and
Oh, cool.
I
excellent.
think I've converted her to an indie fan for sure. So
Awesome.
Oh,
great.
beautiful.
Welcome, Fiona. That's awesome.
thank you.
Awesome. Well, that's good. I'm glad it's a family affair.
Yes,
Everybody's having
definitely.
fun with Indiana Jones. That's great.
Sister.
Sister.
Sister, stepdaughter, uncle, doll,
Daddy-o.
Daddy-o. Well, everybody, whatever relation you are to yourself or others, we hope you had a nice time. Please join us again next week for minute 107 of Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, right here on the good old Indiana Jones Minute.
This minute had a lot.
Kinda.
Yeah.
I thought it was dumb, but then we talked about it a lot.
It had a lot.
And it got
had
dumber.
A lot of stuff going on.
Now, is that because of the movie or is that because of us? Are we excellent podcasters or
No, that's the
No,
That's
no,
all
we've
the
been
movie.
like
No.
kicking
Damn
one
it.
pebble
Natalie's
for the
excellent,
last,
but
you
I,
know.
you
I think
you
Natalie
raised the,
inspired us.
yeah, you raised the bar
Yes.
a little bit.
Mhm.
Well, thank you. I think there's just a lot of content to unpack, whether it's good, bad, or different.
That's sometimes true.
Yeah.
I'm flummoxed. I'm flummoxed as to why Indy still decided, like, what did he think was going? What if everybody heeds him? What do? They don't open the ark. They walk out of the night room.
It could have been the birth of peace between the West and Russia and everything.
Yeah.
You know, these two
Yeah.
teams of people coming together on a common goal, you know?
Yeah.
Missed opportunities.
Could have
Yeah.
solved world peace.
Yeah.
But instead, he just walks out his window.